In this video, we're going to see an Israeli mouthpiece get pressed and completely fall apart when she tries to defend Israel targeting and killing journalists. As usual, let's watch the video in full. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts towards the end.
What evidence do you have that satisfies you that this was a valid action by the IDF?
So the IDF, as the spokesperson said, has indicated clearly that some things could be declassified, and they were declassified, and there were pictures provided, by the way, they're completely public, of the specific journalist, Anas, who was documented himself in Hamas uniform
but
with
how
weapons.
Recent was that, Ms. Mosammalande? How recent was that?
No, very recent. The guy is a very young man in the territory, in Gaza and elsewhere. It was not years ago. This is very recent.
Well, the tracking document that's been put out dates back to 2023. But even if we allow that this gentleman was in some way working for Hamas, what of those who were with him?
It's not in some way, sir. I would like to stress, these are men who work for Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera...
Are you telling me that all five of them, in your view, were Hamas operatives?
I don't know that, and I cannot give you that answer. I can tell you that Anas specifically...
So I appreciate your candor, thank you. So if you don't know...
You're welcome.
If you don't know, how can you possibly sanction the murder of what's possibly four innocent journalists, allowing that you believe Anas al-Sharif to be a Hamas operative?
So first of all, Anas was killed not in a targeted manner and not because he is a so-called journalist, and I say this in inverted commas, but because he is a Hamas operative. I don't know regarding the rest.
But how can you justify that? I appreciate it wasn't your action. I appreciate, and I'm very grateful that you come in as a former member of Knesset, but how can you justify four innocent journalists, or I think one of them was a field producer, so go ahead.
I'm trying to answer. I can, and I do have the information that the Israeli policy, as opposed to what that French journalist said prior to my speaking, is absolutely not to target innocent civilians and or journalists. And any and all evidence that needs to be declassified to show that not only Anas, but the other four are not innocent civilians will be provided. There is no policy by the Israeli IDF and or government to target journalists. This is not something that we do. On the contrary, we are convinced.
But why is it then that figures from the two organisations, Independent Freedom Journalists and the CPJ, says that 274 journalists have been killed in various operations in Gaza, 269 of them are Palestinian? How can you possibly say the IDF isn't killing journalists?
Because the IDF is killing operatives that work for the Hamas.
All 274 now, are they? They're all Hamas.
The Hamas... it's a pity that you are laughing because I'm
not laughing. I just find... I say to you, I find it risible that you want my listeners to believe of the 274 journalists who've died since the 11th of August 2025, numbers certified by two separate organisations, respectfully, 269 of them of whom were Palestinian. You want my listeners to believe they were all journalists. That's what I find risible.
So respectfully, sir, if I may finish a full sentence, please. Perhaps I will allow your listeners to have a little bit more information.
Please.
The Palestinian Gazans who have been hired by Al Jazeera to be so-called journalists, by the way, not a few of them had actually taken hostages and tortured our hostages. And this has been a proven point told by hostages that have been given back in agreed upon agreements with the Hamas. So those so-called journalists have been in Gaza, young people, they've been in the indoctrinating process of Hamas for the past 20 years. They have been so-called covering the so-called horrors of Israel and accompanying Hamas operatives all along.
All right, all 274 then, you believe, lastly?
First of all, 274 is a number that has been given by whom?
By whom? By the two separate organisations, the Committee for the Protection of Journalists and the Independent Freedom of Journalists organisation, so both journalists' bodies.
Okay, so those journalist bodies,
They're lying
if
as
they
well,
give
are they,
the
Ruth?
names, if they, why are you putting words in my mouth, may I ask?
What-
Did I say that?
Because you've disputed every single figure that's been put
I've
forward.
not disputed. I am
You
saying a
disputed
fact, sir.
Reporters Sans Frontières. I would imagine you will dispute these two. So that's
The
three separate
reporters
organisations that
the
put these figures
reporters-
out, Ruth.
I have not disputed. What I'm saying is very simple.
All right.
The Hamas and organizations are saying that Israel is targeting journalists. I am telling you, Israel is not targeting journalists. What is happening is that Israel is targeting Hamas operatives that are killing our people, and by the way, killing Palestinians as well,
All right.
on a daily basis, by the way.
I'm grateful for your time.
So it's just quite interesting. As I always say, there's always a trend when I do any form of content that is in regards to Israel and the way that they're handling the genocide. You know, I want to make sure that word is very clear. The genocide that's taking place in Gaza. You always see a few consistent trends. It's never their fault. Any figure that doesn't come from Israel itself is disputed, and it's probably a lie. And everything that it is that they've done was within the realms of doing it the right way, and they've done nothing wrong. Consistent trends that it is that we always see. Now, the reality is this. How is it that since October 7th, over 240 Palestinian journalists that are in Gaza have been killed? How is that the case? How is that not a targeted attack? And the justification for it is always, oh, they were Hamas operatives. They worked for Hamas. They were killing our people. But 240 Palestinian journalists being killed in Gaza, that actually makes it the deadliest conflict for journalists ever recorded. Let's really sit back and let's really think about what it is that I just said. That makes it the most deadliest conflict for journalists ever recorded in history. And there's been wars that have been fought that have gone on for longer. There's been situations that have been happened way bigger than the situation that we've got going on right now. But over 240 Palestinian journalists have been killed. But Israel wants us to believe that journalists aren't being targeted and being killed. This is what the problem is. We have seen, due to reporting, that Israel has repeatedly targeted journalists as well as media offices as well. And a lot of the incidents, the deliberate things that have taken place, and the reason as to why they've done that is to be able to silence the media, the Palestinian media, so that they don't tell the truth. Don't you think it's very interesting and intriguing that Israel will not allow outside journalists and media to come into Gaza and give us a real look at what's going on? So what they do instead is they just take out and kill the Palestinian media within Gaza and not allow them to be able to share the real truth of what's happening and what's going on. This is crazy stuff, and it's always the same thing. They're linked to militants. They are a part of Hamas. But the reality is this, as you heard Nick Ferrari in the video speak, he literally said himself that international organizations have condemned these killings and they are violations of the press freedom and they are war crimes. But Israel don't care about that. Do you know why? Because of the fact they've committed so many war crimes up until this point. The reality is this, in conclusion, the deaths of journalists, specifically journalists that are within Gaza, it hinders independent reporting and a balanced viewpoint of the genocide that's taking place, especially as foreign media access to Gaza isn't allowed. And what that means is that local journalists that live within Gaza, them being taken out, it removes their voice, and then that then allows Netanyahu and Israel to be able to paint the narrative. This is what is taking place within this genocide between the genocide that Israel are doing within Gaza. As usual, guys, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I apologize, I haven't uploaded it in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Guys, I was on holiday with my family. You know, when you upload 2 videos a day every single day for 4 or 5 months, it can take a lot out of you. But I just wanted to just let you guys know I'm back off holiday now and I will be uploading again. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. While you're down there, hit that subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.